start. Welcome everyone to the 2015 Distinguished Teachers Award Ceremony. Let me start by thanking the Greenwich Public Schools Festival Orchestra for the beautiful music they have had shared with us today. What an extremely talented group. Thank you to Principal Shelley Summers in Central Middle School for once again hosting this event. I would like to recognize some of the individuals who have joined us here today. On stage we have Superintendent Bill McCursey, Board of Education Chair Barbara O'Neill, Selectman John Toner, State Senator Scott France, and in the audience we also have Chief of Police James Heavey. Also in the audience we have members of the Distinguished Teachers Award Committee, and I would like to have them stand so we can recognize how hard this committee has worked in selecting these individuals. Please, would you please stand? We have several Distinguished Teacher Awards sponsors: Barbara O'Neill, the Kiwanis Club, GOSHA, GEA, PTA Council, and I think for the first time, all of the Greenwich Public School PTAs. Thank you. We also want to acknowledge all of you in the audience who spent the time to write nominations and were seconders, so thank you for participating as well. And lastly but not least, I do ask this group to please stand up and be recognized, and I would like all of the past winners of Distinguished Teachers to please stand up. The Distinguished Teachers Awards Committee was established in 1984 to recognize and celebrate excellence among the dedicated teaching staff of the Greenwich Public Schools. The committee is comprised of 20 members and is balanced of representatives from GEA, GOSHA, PTA Council, the Board of Education, and members of the community. But now let's get to the six over here. What do these six educators on stage have in common? They are innovators. From using technology to engage, to sharing their precious lunchtime to foster deeper teacher-student interaction, to growing confidence through activities as unique as having students stand on their desk to shout it from the mountains as they share their accomplishments, to imaginative lessons which bring history to life through mock simulations, living wax museums, and turning study guides into game shows, to explaining difficult to visualize mathematical concepts with sweeping gestures, spinning themselves around, and even going as far as laying on the ground to get a point across to students. In the classroom, in the hallways, and in the school garden, all of these teachers have had incredible impact on their schools and their students. As you read through their profiles in the program, I am sure you will agree that these are no ordinary individuals. They embody all that any parent would want to see in a teacher, and more importantly, what a child would want in a teacher. As the DTAC committee read through their submissions and recommendations, certain terms seem to be present on all of them: respectful, demanding, imaginative, humble, caring, giving, creative, supportive, loving. But it isn't what was written on the paper that is important, it's what is obviously etched on the hearts of the six. There you will find their obvious love of teaching, their love for children, and the pride they feel in this most noble of profession, and the passion they bring to bear each and every day. Today we are celebrating six teachers whose impact will be felt far beyond June. These are the teachers that students will speak about for decades after their days in the classroom are over. I also know that all six never saw any accolades such as this, but I also know all six are incredibly well-deserving of being recognized as distinguished teachers. Congratulations and thank you to all of you. I would now like to introduce Dr. Bill McCursey, Superintendent of Greenwich Public Schools.
Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I like it. I love seeing all these smiles out here. When I go into the kindergarten classes to guest read, I ask the students at Key Points to put on their thinking caps. Will you all put on your thinking cap, please? It's all on. You all are good. Think about the best teacher you've ever had. I'll count to 5, and I know you'll find them by then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Raise your hand if you're thinking about the best teacher you ever had. Dr. Winters, you're not raising your hand.
Too many to choose.
All right, good. Today is about celebrating what's most important in all of what we do in education. No matter what, the most important thing we do is putting the best teachers with our students. We're honoring 6 new distinguished teachers today. I'm thrilled that so many of the others in this group are out today to help honor these 6 newest best amongst the best. Because as each of them have said to me individually, there are hundreds upon hundreds in Greenwich who could be sitting in those 6 chairs, and all of you know that. But the most important thing we do, let me underscore that, as superintendent, as board, as administrators, as parents, as all the rest, is to make sure we have the best teachers possible working with our children. We know how challenging this job is. Spend some time in our classrooms, spend some time talking to our teachers. It's intellectually challenging. You don't work in Greenwich without being asked to challenge intellectually yourself or your students. It's physically challenged. Get into our elementary classrooms and watch our teachers move, stand, jump, walk. It's a rigorous place, and yes, even at the high school they have to do that. It's emotionally challenging. This past Friday, after sending out this wonderful testimonial from high school seniors thanking their teachers, I had a note from a teacher saying, hey, thanks for that video. Thanks for sharing that, because I love my job. I had a tough day. And when I went home and flicked on that video and saw all of those seniors very affectionately thanking the teachers, it made it all make sense to me. This is what this teacher told me. So today we honor Kathy, Luz, Richard, Marianne, and Diana. As again, 6 of our newest, best of our best. I look forward to being in your classroom soon. I look forward to interviewing and talking with you more over the next 5-6 weeks about your work. But again, thank you to you. Thank you to all the distinguished teachers out today to again honor what's most important, our best teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McCursey. And now I'd like to welcome up Selectman John Toner.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank the Greenwich Public Schools for inviting me to this festive occasion, and what could be more festive than celebrating the recognition of a job well done. In preparation for today, I went to the school site to see what the Distinguished Teacher Award was all about. I looked at the criteria involved in nominating a distinguished teacher and made it as far as the first 2 qualities. Inspires enthusiasm for learning and elicits a high level of achievement from students in relation to their individual abilities. Expects students to take responsibility for their own learning. And then I had my aha moment. Distinguished teachers provide the fuel, light the spark, and then sit back and watch the bonfire grow. An extraordinary group of people. I tip my hat to you. Thank you.
And now we will present our distinguished teachers. First, I would like to call up nominator Darlene Agnato, who will present Kathy Byrne.
Put this down a little bit. There we go. So today it is my great honor to recognize Kathy Byrne as one of the 6 Greenwich Distinguished Teachers for this year. Kathy and I have taught together at Hamilton Avenue School for a very long time, for the whole time that she's been at HamAv. She sets very high expectations for her students and goes above and beyond what is expected to help her students achieve. Students in her classroom know that she cares about them as much as she cares about their learning. How many teachers do you know that invite a student to Thanksgiving dinner so that that child will not spend the holiday home all alone. I also have had the pleasure of having Kathy teach both of my children. She found ways to excite them about learning while challenging them to excel, which sometimes was not always easy. She nurtured my very shy child and appreciated the humor and sarcasm of my comedic child. She never compared my children to each other, but always viewed each as individuals. Kathy has created some very amazing experiences for her students and has actively contributed to the Hamilton Avenue community and is a colleague with whom every teacher wants to work. And I am proud to honor Kathy today.
Members of the Board of Education, Distinguished Teachers Award Committee, Dr. McCursey, friends, colleagues, honored guests, I am honored yet very humbled to be here today. To stand side by side with Luz, Richard, Marianne, and Diane is truly a privilege. We stand on the shoulders of all the distinguished teachers who have come before us, and I hope we serve as an inspiration for those who have yet to come. I would like to thank my friend and colleague Darlene Ngata for nominating me. I could not have asked for a better partner and friend. I would also like to thank Carmen, as well as all the colleagues at Hamilton Avenue and throughout the district. I would not be here without your guidance and support. I would like to thank my husband Ken and my daughters Kaylin and Maura, who have always been so supportive and welcomed my kids into our home each night. I want to thank my first teachers, my mom and dad, who have always encouraged me to reach for the stars. I would especially like to thank Allison Radson and the families of all my students for the privilege of having their children in my class each day. Allison's daughter Wyatt exemplifies the reason we all became teachers. It's watching the excitement and the joy of our students learn and grow that makes our job the best job in the world. Finally, I would like to thank my students. Not only do I teach my students, but the things I have learned from them have made me a better teacher. Their curiosity and enthusiasm pushes me to be more than simply a mentor, but a partner in their learning. My job as a teacher is to guide students on their journey of discovery and to provide opportunities to study things that are meaningful and relevant to their lives. When my students leave the classroom, I want them to remember more than just the skills and knowledge I have taught them. I want them to look back and remember how I was able to make their learning not only meaningful, but fun. Above all, the one thing I hope my students remember most is how much I care for each and every one of them, and that I believe in their potential and expect them to do great things. I want them to carry with them my love of learning and recognize that this is a special gift I have given them, and hope they will in turn share it with others. Thank you.
Next, I would like to call Katie Bennett, who will be introducing Luz Desarelis.
Good afternoon. I'm so thrilled to be here, and that Luz Desarelis, I can't say her new last name. I always think of her as Miss Casado, so excuse me if I just call her Miss Casado. Excuse me. I'm so thrilled that she's getting the recognition she deserves for her many years of dedicated work as a Western Middle School Spanish teacher. Over the course of the last 6 years, Ms. Casado has taught my 3 children, and each of them agrees that Ms. Casado is one of the best teachers they've ever had. Ms. Casado keeps her students engaged in their learning, communicates her expectations well with both students and parents, and is involved in community building at the Western Middle School. So when I asked my 8th grade son, Stephen, if there was a teacher at Western Middle School that he thinks we should nominate for Distinguished Teacher, and he said Ms. Casado, I agreed right away. He said that Ms. Casado keeps the class moving fast, and that she's helped him to feel like he's learning to understand and to speak Spanish. I know that she did this for my other 2 children as well, as they are both members of the Spanish Honor Society at Greenwich High School. The Spanish Learning Foundation that she gives her middle school students helps them to move forward at a high level because she helps them to feel comfortable with their ability in Spanish. Ms. Casado is able to inspire her students to work hard to learn Spanish by setting high expectations for her students and then helping them to do their best work. In addition, Ms. Casado makes important contributions to the Western Middle School community by running fundraisers and organizing International Night. International Night is the biggest and best event of the year at Western Middle School. In order to keep this short, I will just tell you that it is a lot of work. This night, the International Night, brings parents, students, and staff together for a meal, and more importantly, it celebrates the importance of the diversity in our community. I'm very proud to call Luz a Greenwich Public School Distinguished Teacher.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to start by saying that in the beginning of the year, I chose public speaking as my advisor base. And the students probably thought I was an expert at it, but I'm not. So bear with me. I would like to thank Greenwich Public Schools for giving me the opportunity to begin my teaching career at Western 8 years ago. I was a little scared and nervous, but very excited to begin my lifelong goal of being a teacher. Every day I enter the Western doors, looking forward to seeing my students, colleagues, and friends. I describe my day-to-day experience as something similar to a performance, setting the stage, preparing my lessons for my students. Then it's lights, camera, action, when students come in and are engaged in various activities that often simulate real-life experiences. I love when my students have aha moments during lessons and trips, and when they are excited to learn, to teach each other, and to teach me along the way. Every afternoon into the evening, I clear the stage in preparation for the next performance the next day. The ultimate end goal being to build the life skill to communicate in Spanish, whether at a restaurant on vacation or in their future jobs and careers. Thank you to all of my peers and administrators that have helped me become the teacher I am today. I love being a teacher and all the opportunities it affords me, from being a role model to being able to connect with the community. Thank you to my sponsors, Kay Bennett, Jessica Anacone, to my administrators, Gordon, Tom, and Suzanne, to the Distinguished Teachers Awards Committee, thank you for this honor. And a very special thank you to my family, my parents, my sisters, and my husband. Thank you for your support.
Next, I would like to introduce Terry McCabe, who will introduce Richard Crawford.
It's my honor to introduce Rich Crawford, a husband, father, and inspiring educator. I've had the pleasure of working with Rich for 5 years, and during that time, I've been greatly impressed with his enthusiasm for learning. He is very curious. His curiosity fuels a broad range of interests, from his longtime enjoyment of hiking, to his recent interest in cultivating orchids, to researching and using innovative teaching strategies with his students. Rich leads by example in seeking answers to compelling questions, thus inspiring his students to do the same. He's been tireless in working to support improved educational outcomes at Western Middle School, and I'm thrilled to present to you Rich Crawford.
My wife told me to tell a joke, but I had a really hard time thinking of one. So. I'm deeply honored to receive this award, and I really, truthfully, I want to first of all thank the people who have made this day possible. Thank you, Terry McCabe, for taking the time to write such a wonderful nomination on my behalf, and for my students James Heavey and Joe Kono for also nominating me. And for Gordon, just for being Gordon. I'd like to thank my beautiful wife, Michelle, who's sitting right over there, and my 2 children, Dylan and Olivia, who I hope are really paying attention, for all your support. And really, when I teach, I try to do what I think would be best for my own kids. So I hope that I'm doing a good service to everyone else's children. If I'm considered a distinguished teacher, it is only because I am surrounded by exceptional teachers at Western Middle School. 10 years ago, I left a successful career in the interactive advertising industry to join the New York City Teaching Fellows Program. I can remember the day that I took my boss out for lunch to let him know that I'd be leaving the company to become a teacher. He was puzzled, and he gave me many reasons why I should not become a teacher. Why would you leave the business world to teach math? Despite his warnings, I took that plunge, and I've never looked back. The work that I do in the classroom has meaning, and I know that I've had a direct impact on the lives of thousands of children. Although math is typically something that makes most people cringe, I really want my students to look forward to coming to class each day, because I know that by making a tough subject a little less intimidating, I'm setting my students up for success. Thank you, Distinguished Teachers Award Committee, for this great honor, and thank you to all of my students for teaching me so much. Thank you.
Next, we have student Olivia Scharfman, who will introduce to you Mary Ann Fricella.
I am extraordinarily proud to be introducing my wonderful teacher and role model of 2 years, Miss Francella. To begin, here are some thoughts about Miss Francella from some of her other students. This one is from a former student now studying math at Yale. He wrote, "Like a caring mother with tough love and a warm heart, Miss Francella challenged me, inspiring me to be a better mathematician." And here's one more from a current student. She wrote, "She's the best. She's very motherly and kind, and she has a great sense of humor. Plus, she's crazy in a good way." Miss Francella's ability to inspire students into taking responsibility for their own learning comes from her own passion and expert knowledge. She explains, as I believe I've already been quoted saying, difficult to visualize concepts with her sweeping gestures, even, and this is not made up, going so far as to lie on the ground to show us which perspective we should be observing a graph from. At many points this year, she has actually used my friend Libby's head as a 3D surface in space to explain complicated topics like gradient vector functions and matrices for Jacobian derivatives. But most importantly, she genuinely cares for her students, and she sees our potential to be great mathematicians. Though this nomination is coming from me, it is on behalf of all of Miss Francella's very grateful students. We say thank you to her for everything that she has given us.
Maya Angelou said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." Today will be a day that I will remember for a very long time, but perhaps I won't remember every detail of this ceremony. I will, however, be sure to remember how I feel standing on this stage, accepting an award for excelling in the job that I absolutely love to do. I feel thankful to my lovely student Olivia for the initiation of the nomination process on my behalf and for her letter of nomination, along with those letters to second my nomination from my colleagues Dana Tulata and Rasha Tarek. I feel honored to have been chosen from among what I'm sure was a group of truly exceptional teachers. I'm honored also to now be a member of that esteemed list of previous Greenwich Distinguished Teachers. But most of all, right at this moment, I am feeling extremely fulfilled. Teaching mathematics is my passion, second only to being a mother. It is my goal each day at Greenwich High School to create an experience in my classroom where the students feel safe and respected. The content is clearly presented and rich with details. The discussions are insightful, the expectations are high, the energy is positive, the laughter is contagious, and the tone is warm, welcoming, and encouraging. Today, receiving this award makes me feel that I've made an impact as a teacher in creating the above classroom, and how truly fulfilling that is. Thank you all, and thank you to all of my students, past and present, whose lives I touched and who have enriched my life so very much.
Next, I would like to call up Scott Fahey, who will introduce Mary Ann Jagodzinski.
I brought two just in case somebody used one of my quotes. So, be prepared, as the Boy Scouts say, right? Well, thank you. It's my privilege to introduce teaching rock star Mary Ann Jagodzinski. My wife Susan and I have had the very good fortune of having Mrs. Jags, as she's known to her students, teach all three of our kids. So we can say from direct experience and with the utmost confidence that she embodies all the qualities the committee looks for in recipients of this great honor. Of all those qualities, we consider her ability to inspire her students to be the most important. For as public education pioneer Horace Mann said, a teacher who is attempting to teach without inspiring the pupil with a desire to learn is hammering on cold iron. We've seen firsthand how she inspires and turbocharges the students' interest in their education and desire to learn. And impressively, she's able to inspire students of all abilities, from special ed to ALP and every student in between. She focuses them on their potential, not just benchmarks. In my nominating letter, I quoted my kids several times, but perhaps our oldest daughter, Morgan, a special ed student, can sum up best. Morgan has her own unique way of communicating, but I know what she would say tonight. She'd say, Mrs. Jags made me feel special, in a good way. I'm going to let TJ finish up for us.
So now it's my honor to present Distinguished Teacher Award recipient and one of my best friends, Mrs. Jagodzinski.
Wow, it's quite an honor. TJ, you know I love you.
Oh, you too.
Over the past 2 weeks, I've had an opportunity to reflect on what it means to be a distinguished teacher in my personal journey as an educator. What comes to mind is that I did not get here alone. I'm here because of the amazing administrators and colleagues at North Street School that I work with who give me guidance and encouragement to be the best I can be. I wish to thank Team Fahey. I am so deeply honored by your nomination. Over the past 8 years, you have trusted me with your beautiful children, Morgan, Grace, and TJ, each unique and so close to my heart. Although there are many lessons that I hope they have learned in my classroom, it is your family that has taught me to find the spark that lights each child, to go the extra mile to ensure that each child experiences success, feels valued, and enjoys learning. I am grateful to my nominators, Principal Jill Flood and colleague and friend Jessica Baker, whose dedication to North Street School is a source of great inspiration. I am so fortunate to have the love of my family. You're all here today. A mom and dad who always supported me in fulfilling my dreams to be a teacher. And I remember many evenings with my husband and my children Jimmy and Tara spend hours helping me to create and build things for my classrooms. Over the past several years, teaching at nursery school, there have been many changes in curriculum and methodologies to meet the evolving needs of 21st century students. I welcome opportunities to think freshly about my teaching and student experiences, to create lessons that are engaging and meaningful. However, there's one aspect in my classroom that's remained consistent, and that is to ignite a passion in my students to just plain love learning. It's my mission to make each child feel valued, to differentiate instruction for the student who loves to just draw, to the student who can solve the most challenging math problems. It is important to nurture all their talents and build upon all their dreams. At the Board of Education meeting last week, I sat amongst this talented group of distinguished teachers. Congratulations to all of you. I'm so honored to be by your side. And sitting right behind me was one of my former students, Max Minichetti. He was being honored for being a finalist in the 2015 Connecticut Science and Engineering Fair. And after the presentation, Max and I congratulated each other and we hugged each other. And Max said to me, I could barely, Mrs. Jack, he goes, this all started with you. I could barely understand the title of Max's Science Fair project. I definitely knew I never contributed to his knowledge of supramolecular polymer encapsulated UV NIR organic solar cells. Definitely not a part of the 5th grade curriculum. Yet, what I hope that Max meant is that I always believed in him and inspired Max to believe in himself so that he can achieve any of his goals. Teaching is about being passionate and building successes for each and every child. I hope the passion I shared with Morgan, Grace, and TJ, and Max is experienced by all my students. The children with whom I spent time may not remember all the lessons I taught on the solar system or critical concepts in literature, but I hope they will recall that I cared deeply about them, that I valued each and every one of them. Thank you to the Distinguished Teachers Award Committee for this amazing honor, and to Dr. McCursey for your continued leadership. Thank you, everyone.
And finally, I would like to call student Ronnie Alexander Iverson, who is going to introduce Diana Willie.
This award recognizes and celebrates excellence and dedication among teachers in the Greenwich community. I nominated Mrs. Willie as a distinguished teacher because of her teaching approach and enthusiasm. In class, she presents information in a way that makes us students want to learn. She is always available for help, and she inspires us all. I feel lucky to have had her as my teacher this year, and hope many students after me will be so fortunate to have her as theirs. So with great admiration and appreciation, I'd like to introduce a very distinguished teacher from the grade school. Please, let's all give a round of applause for one of Greenwich's best teachers, Western Middle School's Mrs. Diana Willie.
Thank you, everyone. He really is as wonderful as he seems. It's been said that it takes a village to raise a child. I would like to argue that it takes a village to teach a child. This afternoon, I'd like to thank my village for helping me to get to where I am today. I want to start with Alexander. Thank you, Alexander, for believing in me. You saw something in me that you deemed deserving of this award, and I would not be standing here today had it not been for the hard work that you and your mother, Marguerite, put into my nomination. Your faith in my teaching and acknowledgement of my efforts will continue to push me to be a better teacher, the best that I can be. Next, I would like to thank the teachers and staff at Western Middle School, many of whom are here today. At the middle school level, students don't always learn or succeed based on the efforts of one individual. It is a concerted effort, a careful interworking of methods and practices that can bring about change, growth, and fulfillment. The faculty and staff at Western Middle School have taught me, challenged me, and helped me to become a better teacher. I'm definitely gonna cry. They've supported me, built me up, and carried me when I needed it the most. And you all know what I'm talking about. Finally, I want to thank my family, including my mother, Liana, and my beautiful in-laws, Todd and Bonnie, and my amazing and incredible husband, who are all here today. I'm gonna be good now. You are the village that raised me. You've supported my interests, listened to my ideas, and comforted me during the long hours of grading, which have been many. Without all of the aforementioned influences on my life, I would definitely not be the teacher that I am. So you see, it's true. It really does take a village to teach a child. I would like to end by thanking all of my students, past and present, for the gifts of knowledge that they've given me over my 9 years of teaching in Greenwich. I've been fortunate enough to teach some of the most dynamic, gifted, and inspiring young adults. Together, we've shared all things from laughter to tears and created some of the greatest memories. That, to me, is what truly is in the heart of all teachers. The need and desire to connect with students on a personal level, to help them grow, navigate life, and achieve their dreams. Thank you all for allowing me to do just that.
Now please join me in welcoming State Senator Scott France.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. Thank you, Sue. You know, you have to pinch yourself every day in the town of Greenwich when you wake up to remember that we have the most incredible school system, I believe, in the country. And numbers don't tell the entire story, but it is absolutely one of the very, very best in the nation. And I get to see a lot of schools in Connecticut, certainly, and I can tell you it is absolutely an outstanding set of institutions with outstanding leadership. And it's not just about, you know, the buildings and the facilities, it's all about the faculty. And if there's one thing that is just as good as it gets anywhere in this country about the Greenwich school system, it is its teachers. And of those excellent teachers, you're looking at 6 of the very best here this afternoon. And what an inspiration. We all did have those teachers that inspired us. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if I didn't have 1 or 2 different teachers in my life, right around the 7th, 8th, and 9th grade era for me. And I had to laugh because Dr. McCursey gave you guys 5 seconds to figure out who your favorite teacher was in the past. Well, it took TJ about 0.05 seconds to figure that one out, right? Right, TJ? Yeah, what an inspiring story you guys have. And that's, you know, if there's one incident or one set of circumstances that sums up how good the faculty are here, that's it. Because at the end of the day, the thing that unifies you is your passion, not so much the mastery of your subject area and subject matter, but it's your passion, your devotion, and your love of these children and the love of the whole process of giving them an education, the best they can possibly get. Thank you all very much.
And now I would like to call up Chairman of the Board of Education, Barbara O'Neill.
Good afternoon, everybody, and congratulations to the distinguished teachers. I'd like to also recognize that Mrs. Dayton and Mrs. Erickson, both board members, are in the audience today, recognizing the distinguished teachers. I'd like to also thank all the teachers that are in the audience on this special day, this Teacher Recognition Day. I have to admit that when the Distinguished Teacher Program was first started many moons ago, I was very skeptical. I thought, how can they pick 6 distinguished teachers year after year without diluting the program? I was very, very wrong. Even though teaching profession has become more challenging, each distinguished teacher class is as talented and as dedicated as the first. The board knows this to be true since we see it every month at our board meetings, and you saw it at our last board meeting. We see the fruits of excellent teaching. Students being recognized for outstanding achievements in all academic areas, the arts, and athletics. And weeks before, the board recognized students for heartwarming service to a multitude of local, national, and international organizations. Students are able to reach heights of amazing accomplishment because education is a bridge to new achievements. It is also a bridge from violence to peace and from despair to hope. You do a superb job of teaching your subject matter, but much more importantly, you teach attributes of hard work, perseverance, and respect for self and others. These are not measured on tests, but are crucial life lessons. These subliminal character-building lessons are the lessons your students remember. I urge you, with your usual joy and enthusiasm, to continue to lead your students to cross that bridge to build a better quality of life for themselves and for others. Then, one student at a time, we will ultimately have a more peace-filled world. Congratulations to our new distinguished teachers.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out this afternoon. I just want to thank one more person. Like most things, Greenwich Public Schools would not have happened without the hard work of Director of Communications, Kim Eves. So thank you again. And we would like you to join us across the hall for a reception. Thank you so much.